Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm excited to share insights from my book, Cleophas I Mirage Explorer, Journey to Mars and Beyond. This narrative chronicles my journey leading the 2025 Mars mission. In this ambitious project, I focus on designing and building the Quantum Explorer, a spacecraft that utilizes theoretical quantum physics for rapid space travel. The story captures my team's experiences through conceptual design, prototyping the quantum drive, and overcoming various technical and financial challenges. In this video, we'll detail the assembly process, showcase a successful test flight, and discuss our upcoming journey to Mars, emphasizing scientific exploration and evidence of past water activity. Isn't that amazing? My book also shares findings from Valles Marineris and concludes with my reflections on the mission's significance and the spirit of exploration. You can read it online or download it for offline enjoyment. Let's jump in without further ado. Hey everyone, before we get started, I noticed in my YouTube channel analytics that many of you watching aren't subscribed. If you could do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. It motivates me and helps the channel grow, so I can create more videos like the one you're about to see. Also, as some of you requested, my team has launched a website where you can read my books and find transcripts of all my videos in the form of small booklets. The link is in video description. We're working hard to produce informative videos daily, along with books and transcripts. I'd love your help in spreading Dawa, calling to Allah's message. Please click the join button to show your support. Now, let's dive in.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something pretty spectacular today.
Oh, I'm intrigued already. What's on the docket?
We're going to be exploring Cleophee's brand new book. It's called Mirage Explorer, The Ascension, A Journey Beyond.
Cleophee, as in the astrophysicist Cleophee.
The one and only.
Yeah.
And she's really outdone herself this time. I mean, this book is like, it's a wild ride through science fiction.
Oh, I can only imagine. Knowing her work, it's bound to be grounded in some serious science too, right?
Absolutely. That's what makes it so fascinating. The whole story revolves around this theoretical spacecraft. It's designed to reach Mars, but get this, not with conventional rockets.
Okay, now you've got my attention. What kind of mind-bending tech are we talking about here?
It's called a quantum drive. And from what I understand, it's all based on the principles of quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement. Oh, that's where things get really interesting. And a little bit spooky, to be honest. Remember that phenomenon we talked about last time, where two particles, no matter how far apart, are linked? Like, whatever happens to one instantly affects the other.
Right. But how do you go from a couple of entangled particles in a lab to a spaceship zooming off to Mars? That seems like a giant leap.
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The idea is if you could somehow manipulate this entanglement on a massive scale, like really massive, you could potentially warp space-time, create a shortcut. Think of it like folding a piece of paper so two distant points touch. That's kind of what the Mirage Explorer is attempting to do. It's trying to use that folded space-time to bypass the vast distances between Earth and Mars.
So instead of a journey that takes years, we're talking weeks, months maybe.
Theoretically, even faster. But hold on, there are some major hurdles to overcome. One of the biggest challenges, and Cleophee really dives into this in the book, is maintaining the coherence of that quantum state. Think of it like a house of cards. It's incredibly fragile, easily disrupted by the slightest interference.
Makes sense. And not to mention the energy requirements for something like this. Bending space-time can't be cheap, energetically speaking.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The energy demands would be astronomical, pun intended. Cleophee doesn't shy away from those practical considerations. She even walks us through her team's process of developing prototypes, the setbacks, the small victories, all of it. It highlights the sheer complexity of trying to turn this mind-boggling concept into reality.
So even if you could figure out the physics of bending space-time, actually building a spacecraft to withstand those forces, that's a whole other challenge, isn't it? What kind of materials can handle something like that?
Cleophee talks about using cutting-edge composites, things like carbon fiber, for instance. It needs to be lightweight but incredibly durable, able to withstand not only the usual rigors of space travel, but also the potential stresses of, a warp drive. She really gets into the nitty-gritty of material science and the design considerations.
I'm starting to get a clearer picture of this Mirage Explorer. It sounds incredibly complex. It's pushing the boundaries of physics and engineering. There's one thing that's been bugging me, though. Something like a quantum drive, manipulating space-time. I can't imagine it running cool. How do they address heat management in the book?
Cleophee describes this super sophisticated cooling system. It uses a combination of liquid cooling and some seriously advanced thermal management technology. Remember, they're dealing with forces that could generate incredible amounts of heat. The cooling system is absolutely vital to the whole operation. Without it, the spacecraft would basically melt down.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm starting to grasp the scale of this project. It's mind-blowing. Did they actually delve into the construction process in the book?
Right.
Because I can't imagine building a spaceship like this by hand.
No, you're right. It would be impossible with just human hands. Cleophee really emphasizes the role of robotics and AI in the Mirage Explorer's construction and operation. It only makes sense when you think about it. You need that precision, that unwavering reliability, especially when you're dealing with such sophisticated technology.
It's a glimpse into the future of space exploration, where humans and machines work together to achieve the seemingly impossible. So we've got this amazing spacecraft, a brilliant team, and a drive to reach Mars faster than ever before. I'm guessing it wasn't all smooth sailing, though, was it? What kind of roadblocks do they encounter?
Cleophee isn't shy away from the challenges. From technical hiccups to financial struggles, they faced it all. One of the biggest hurdles they had was the constant pressure of limited funding. It's one thing to have a groundbreaking idea, but securing the resources to bring it to life, that's a whole different story.
I can only imagine, especially when you're dealing with a concept that sounds like something straight out of science fiction. So it's not just about overcoming technological challenges, it's about navigating the human element too.
Yeah.
Convincing people to invest in a dream and a vision of the future. That's not easy.
Absolutely. It's about people, collaboration, pushing through those moments of doubt. Cleophee even describes a period where she experienced a personal crisis and had to step back from the project. It's really inspiring to see how her team rallied, not only to keep the project moving forward, but also to support their leader during a difficult time.
That's a testament to the power of teamwork and the human spirit.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even with all the advancements in technology, it's still people who make the difference. So they face setbacks, funding issues, personal challenges, but they eventually make it to the test flight.
Yes, it's a nail-biting moment in the book. They launched the Mirage Explorer for an unmanned test flight, and they actually managed to engage the quantum drive.
Wait, really? They actually made it work?
It's a moment of pure exhilaration. They're watching the data stream in, and they see evidence of space-time distortion, confirmation that the quantum drive is functioning. But of course, there's a twist.
There's always a twist. What happened?
Well, remember that sophisticated cooling system? Apparently, there was a feedback loop in the power system, and it nearly caused the whole drive to overheat during the test flight. It's a heart-stopping moment where they have to think on their feet, come up with a solution in real time.
Talk about pressure. Did they manage to pull it off?
They did. It was a close call, but thanks to their quick thinking and expertise, they averted disaster. It just goes to show that even with the most advanced technology, things can and will go wrong.
It's the ultimate test of ingenuity and resilience. So they have this incredible test flight, overcome a near-catastrophic failure, and now they're ready for the main event, a crewed mission to Mars.
That's right. But before they blast off, Cleophee takes us behind the scenes of the astronaut training program. It's not just about learning to operate the spacecraft, it's about preparing for the mental and emotional challenges of deep space travel.
It's easy to overlook that aspect. The psychological impact of prolonged isolation, confinement. How do they prepare for that in the book?
Cleophee describes this really rigorous training program. The astronauts undergo countless simulations, team-building exercises, everything they can think of to prepare for the mental and emotional strain of a long-duration space mission. You know, the psychological aspect is just as critical as the technical one.
It's about the human element, isn't it? Our resilience, our ability to adapt and thrive in extreme environments.
Exactly. It's fascinating how Cleophee weaves that human element into the narrative. And then, of course, comes the journey itself.
The big moment. Tell me, did the quantum drive live up to its promise?
Well, it wasn't exactly instantaneous travel. They used the quantum drive for the long haul, bridging the vast distance between Earth and Mars. But once they got closer, they had to switch to conventional propulsion to navigate the Martian system.
Why the switch? Was there a problem with the quantum drive?
It seems the quantum drive is amazing for covering those vast interstellar distances, but it's not as precise or maneuverable as traditional propulsion methods. It's like having a car that can teleport. You still need a steering wheel and brakes to maneuver once you arrive.
Okay, that makes sense. So the quantum drive is for the interstellar highway, and conventional propulsion is for the local roads.
You got it. And then comes the moment we've all been waiting for, the arrival at Mars. Cleophee describes it so beautifully. The crew is absolutely awestruck as they approach the red planet, seeing it up close for the first time.
That feeling of witnessing something truly extraordinary, I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
They land safely, plant their flag on Martian soil, and take those first tentative steps onto another world.
A giant leap for humanity. What a moment.
It's a triumph of human ingenuity, a testament to our unyielding desire to explore the unknown. But their mission is far from over.
So what happens next? They've made history. They've landed on Mars. What are their priorities? What do they do first?
Well, the first order of business, of course, is safety. They establish their base camp, make sure all their systems are functioning. But soon, the science begins. They start gathering data, analyzing the atmosphere, and collecting those all-important soil samples.
Ah, the soil samples. Those are key, right? Because there's always been that tantalizing question, could there be signs of life on Mars? Did they find anything interesting?
Now, this is where it gets really exciting. They discover organic compounds in the Martian soil.
No way.
Yeah.
Organic compounds, as in the building blocks of life.
That's right. Now, this isn't conclusive proof of life, past or present, but it's a major step forward. It suggests that conditions on Mars might have once been favorable for life as we know it.
This is groundbreaking stuff. So they've landed, set up camp, and found potential signs of life in the soil. Where do they go from there? What happens next?
That's where the real adventure begins. They pack up their gear, fire up their rover, and head out into the Martian wilderness to explore. A massive Martian canyon. A massive Martian canyon. It's like the Grand Canyon on steroids.
Okay, now that's what I call an adventure. What's it like exploring a canyon on Mars? I mean, where do you even begin?
Just imagine towering rock formations, right? Shaped by ancient Martian winds and water over millions of years. It's breathtaking, really. The crew starts by meticulously collecting geological samples, layer by layer. They analyze the composition, trying to piece together a timeline of Martian history.
So it's like they're peeling back layers of time, like an interplanetary archaeological dig, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking for clues to what Mars was like eons ago.
Precisely. And one of the most significant discoveries they make is the presence of sedimentary rock formations. This is a huge deal because it strongly suggests that liquid water once flowed through this area, shaping the landscape over millions of years.
So we're not just talking about a little trickle of water here and there, but potentially rivers, lakes, maybe even oceans. Wow, that completely changes our picture of Mars.
Right. It's a game changer in our understanding of the red planet. And remember those organic compounds they found earlier in the soil? Well, guess what? They found them in the canyon too, embedded within those sedimentary rock layers.
Okay, so the plot thickens. We've got water, we've got organic compounds. Are we getting closer to finding evidence of life on Mars?
Well, each discovery brings us closer to answering that question. But exploring a massive canyon on Mars isn't a walk in the park. It's a harsh and unforgiving environment.
I can imagine. Didn't you mention something about dust storms earlier?
Oh yeah, those dust storms are no joke. One of the most intense scenes in the book is when a massive dust storm suddenly descends upon the crew while they're out exploring the canyon. They have to scramble for shelter, racing against time as the storm engulfs them. It's a real nail-biter.
That sounds terrifying. Did they make it back to the Mirage Explorer in time?
It's a very close call, but yes, they managed to escape the storm's fury. Cleophee describes them hunkering down inside the spacecraft, listening to the wind howl outside, knowing that their very survival depends on the technology they've created. It's a powerful reminder of how vulnerable we are in such an extreme environment.
It really underscores the courage and determination of these explorers, the risks they're willing to take to expand our knowledge of the universe. So, after they weather the storm, what do they do next?
Well, they realized that exploring a canyon system as vast as the Valles Marineris required a more systematic approach. They needed a plan, a way to prioritize their efforts.
So how do they go about tackling such a monumental task?
Cleophee describes how they used advanced imaging technology to create a detailed 3D map of the entire Valles Marineris. It's like they're creating a roadmap for future exploration, pinpointing the most promising areas to investigate.
So they're not just wandering around aimlessly, they're being strategic, scientific about their explorations. What kind of things were they looking for on this 3D map?
They were particularly interested in areas with those intriguing layered formations, places where the rock strata hinted at a complex geological history, especially those suggesting a past presence of water. They also identified spots with unusual mineral compositions. And get this, they even found evidence that hinted at past hydrothermal activity, maybe even ancient hot springs.
Hot springs? On Mars. Now that's a surprise. What does that tell us about the red planet's past?
It suggests that Mars might have once been much more geologically active than we previously thought. Hot springs on Earth are often teeming with microbial life, so the possibility of finding similar environments on ancient Mars is incredibly exciting.
It's like each discovery opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, right?
Absolutely, and it fuels the team's drive to keep exploring, to keep digging deeper, both literally and figuratively.
Speaking of digging deeper, did those layered rock formations in the Valles Marineris reveal anything more about ancient Martian life?
Well, while they didn't find any fossilized remains or anything like that, they did make a remarkable discovery.
Oh, come on, don't leave me hanging. What did they find?
They found traces of organic molecules embedded within those rock layers.
Wait, organic molecules, as in the building blocks of life.
You got it. Now, this doesn't automatically mean that life existed on Mars, but it's a tantalizing clue. It adds to the growing body of evidence that Mars might have once been a much more habitable place than we previously imagined.
Wow, this is mind-blowing. It seems like every step they take brings us closer to answering that age-old question. Are we alone in the universe?
It certainly feels that way. And as their expedition in the Valles Marineris comes to an end, there's this sense that they've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore, so much more to discover.
So what happens next? Do they pack up and head back to Earth with all their incredible findings, or is there more to the story?
Well, Cleophee makes it clear that their mission is far from over. They've gathered an incredible amount of data, but the real work, the analysis and interpretation of that data, is just beginning.
So the journey continues, even after they return to Earth.
Absolutely. And with the Mirage Explorer proving its capabilities, who knows what other corners of the red planet they might explore next. The possibilities are endless.
I love how Cleophee doesn't just focus on the technical achievements. She also delves into the human side of exploration, the teamwork, the challenges, the sheer wonder of discovery.
It's what makes the story so compelling, isn't it? We see these characters not just as scientists, but as people. People with dreams, fears, and an unyielding curiosity about the universe.
And that's something we can all relate to, that desire to explore, to understand our place in the cosmos. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Cleophee's Mirage Explorer, the Ascension, a journey beyond, what are some of the key takeaways you think our listeners should be pondering?
Well, for me, it's about the power of human ingenuity, our ability to push beyond boundaries and make the seemingly impossible possible. And it's a reminder that space exploration isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about the journey itself, the lessons we learn along the way.
It's about the human spirit, our resilience, our boundless curiosity.
Exactly. And Cleophee's book does a brilliant job of capturing that spirit. She reminds us that there's still so much out there to discover, so much to learn, not just about the universe, but about ourselves.
She's given us a glimpse into a future where humanity reaches for the stars, and it's a future filled with wonder, possibility, and a profound respect for the universe we inhabit.
Beautifully said.
This has been an incredible journey so far, but we're not done yet. We still have some big questions to tackle, questions that go beyond the realm of science and technology. You know, it's funny, we spend so much time talking about the how of space exploration, the technology, the engineering feats. But Cleophee's book also makes us think about the why, the bigger questions behind our desire to explore the universe.
Absolutely. Like, what happens if we actually do find evidence of past life on Mars? What do we do with that knowledge?
Exactly. It's not just a scientific discovery, it's a philosophical and ethical dilemma, isn't it?
For sure. Cleophee tackles this head-on in the book, exploring the implications of such a discovery. Do we have the right to excavate and study these potential remnants of a Martian biosphere?
Or should we leave them untouched, preserving them as a testament to a past chapter in the universe's history?
It's a tough question with no easy answers. I mean, on one hand, the scientist in me wants to know everything, to analyze and study these potential signs of past life. But on the other hand, there's this sense of responsibility, of respect for something so ancient and unknown.
It's like we've spent centuries searching for signs of life beyond Earth, and now that we're on the verge of potentially finding it, we have to pause and consider the implications of our actions.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it? It forces us to rethink our whole approach to space exploration. We can't just go around planting flags and claiming territory anymore. We need to be mindful of the potential impact we could have on these alien environments.
It's not just about scientific progress. It's about ethical responsibility. We need to proceed with caution, with respect for the delicate balance of these other worlds. It's something Cleophee really emphasizes in the book. It's not just about what we can do, it's about what we should do.
Right. It's about shifting our perspective, moving away from a mindset of conquest and towards one of stewardship. It's about recognizing the intrinsic value of these other worlds, regardless of whether or not they harbor life.
It's about understanding that we're part of something much larger than ourselves, a vast and interconnected cosmic web. That's a pretty profound message, and it's one that really stayed with me.
Me too. It's what makes Cleophee's book so compelling. She doesn't shy away from asking the tough questions, the ones that force us to confront our assumptions and our responsibilities. It's not just a thrilling adventure story. It's a thought-provoking exploration of what it means to be human in a universe full of possibilities.
It's a reminder that the greatest discoveries are often the ones we make within ourselves. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Mirage Explorer, the Ascension, a journey beyond, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? What do we hope they'll ponder as they process all this amazing information?
For me, it's about the power of imagination, the importance of pushing boundaries, and the humbling realization that we're still just scratching the surface of what's out there.
It's about embracing the unknown, asking the tough questions, and remembering that space exploration is as much a journey inward as it is outward.
Beautifully said.
Well, folks, this has been an incredible journey. We've explored the science, the engineering, the human drama, and the philosophical implications of venturing beyond our home planet. We've traveled to Mars and back, all through the power of Cleophee's storytelling. We hope you've enjoyed the ride.
If you're intrigued by the ideas we've discussed today, we highly recommend picking up a copy of Cleophee's Mirage Explorer. It's a book that will spark your imagination, challenge your assumptions, and leave you with a profound sense of wonder.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep looking up.